Hi there, Stamping Piece friends. I'm Mary Knabe, coming to you live from Westerville, Ohio, outside of Columbus. And today is Thursday, March 6th, and I'm coming to you live at noon today instead of my usual 2 p.m. But being the first Tuesday of the first Thursday of the month, I am showing my monthly 12 by 12 one sheet wonder demonstration, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to mention Tuesday's Facebook Live, the March 4th Facebook Live. We used some new product from the Lovely Garden suite that just released on Tuesday, plus these Pocket Thoughts dies. And I show 2 cards with you. A pocket card, easy and fun to make, especially because we do have the pocket dies. And then I made a card, but turned it into a gift card holder with the medium size pocket die. So if you missed that, definitely check it out. It is on my YouTube channel, Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe. Or if you want all the details with the cutting dimensions and all the products used, you can find that on my blog, stampinpiece.com. Okay? I also want to mention that this week, Stampin' Up! Announced to demonstrators that there is going to be an increase in price of cardstock packs. So, and I'll send out more details about changes in cardstock, but we're keeping all the same colors, but there is a significant increase in price. So I'm suggesting that, and I'm going to do this myself, if you have certain cardstocks that you use regularly, including white, I would stock up now before the price change on May 6th. I'm also suggesting that you not wait till May 4th or 5th to do that, because some of these current inventories at the current item numbers and price may sell out before then. So the sooner you can do it, the better, but it is a significant price increase. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Again, I will send out more details on those changes. Okay, let's get started with this month's One Sheet Wonder demonstration. I'm going to flip my camera around now, and while I do that, please share this video, or if you're watching replay, be sure to click like and share. I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel if that's where you're watching. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, tried to raise my camera up a little bit so you can more easily see how I'm cutting my DSP for the One Sheet Wonder, but doesn't always want to cooperate. I think that's pretty good. All right, for today's One Sheet Wonder, I am using this sheet of DSP from the new Lovely Garden Designer Series paper pack. And I'll just mention, in addition to the paper pack, there's this wonderful Thankful Garden bundle that includes stamp set, dies, and even some decorative masks that you can use to color these flowers if you choose. And then there are also there's also this pack of embellishments called Starburst Sequins, and then this Fresh Freesia faux velvet ribbon. It's real narrow, 1/8 of an inch, but it's pretty and fun to work with. So now let's jump right in. And the first thing we're going to do is cut our DSP. And you know that is always the most important part of the one sheet wonder. Better put my glasses on for this. Oh. Can't forget my cheat sheet so I don't make a mistake. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is, and this one sheet wonder will work for both directional and non-directional designer series papers, okay? If you follow the cutting template, the one sheet wonder template, and the card sketches. So I'm going to start by cutting down the center at 6 inches. And I'm going to set that right piece to the side. And here I'm going to cut in half again at 6 inches. Set that bottom one aside. I'm turning that top left square back to its original position and cutting at 4 inches. Then I'll turn this piece to the horizontal position and cut in half at 3 inches. And I'll be using both of those for card sketch A. As I'm cutting the one sheet wonder pieces, I do like to keep my pieces in order, so you can't see it, it's a little off the screen, but I'm lining them up according to how I cut them so that they're already in place when I go to make my cards using, let's see, today we go from card sketch A through H. I've turned the 2 inch by 6 inch piece to the horizontal position and I'm cutting at 5 inches or 1 inch off the bottom. That'll be used for card sketch B. Now I'm taking the bottom left square from that sheet of DSP. I'm going to turn this and cut at 4 inches. Turn the 6 inch by 4 inch piece back to the original position or horizontal position here and cutting down the middle at 3 inches. These will be for card sketch C. You're going to get 8 different card sketches with this one sheet wonder. And then the 6 inch by 2 inch piece, again, I'm going to cut at 5 inches or 1 inch off that right side. Now you'll see that I pretty much made the same cuts as that first square. However, I had it turned, and that's where the directionality comes in, okay? Now I'm going to take the right side of that original piece of DSP, turn it to the horizontal position, and again, cut at 6 inches. And before I turn this to the original position, I want to cut off a 1/2 inch strip. So I've got my left edge at 5.5 inches, cut off a 1/2 inch strip from the bottom. Now I'm going to turn this to the horizontal position or original position that it was in. And from the left side, I'm going to cut at 3/4 inch increments. And I'm going to do that 5 times so that I'll end up with 5 strips that measure 3/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches. So that's 4. And then one more will give me my 5 strips. And these will be used for card sketch E. And these I do want to keep in the same order that I cut them in, sort of like a picture puzzle. So I'm going to carefully put those over here in that order. And then this piece, I'll turn to the horizontal position, and I'm going to cut it 5.5 inches. No, it is at 5.5 inches. I already did that. Okay, so that piece I'll use as is, 2 1/4 by 5.5 for card sketch F. This piece, that 1/2 inch that we cut off originally from that square, I'm going to cut at 3/4 of an inch. And the 3/4 of an inch I'm going to use with those 5 strips on card sketch E. This 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch strip, are you guys not seeing? I'm so sorry, I've just realized I wasn't in the viewing screen. This 1/2 inch will then go with card sketch F. And next time that happens, if I'm not in the viewing screen, somebody say that in the comments, because sometimes I don't catch that. I apologize. Okay, so the very last square, so this would be the bottom right corner square. I'm going to have it in its original position, original direction, and cut it 3 inches. Then I'll turn this piece to the horizontal position and cut in half at 3 inches to get to 3 by 3 squares. Tony, I promise you that last one is 3/4 of an inch. And it will work out when you see the card. Okay. And that 1/2 inch strip was cut at 3 3/4 of an inch, and then you'd have 2 1/4 inch left. All right, for the last piece, I'm going to turn it to the horizontal position, and I'm going to cut off a 1/2 inch from the bottom twice. Okay, 1/2 inch from the bottom twice. There's once, and then make sure I'm in the right place, twice. So these 2 little strips are going to be used with those 3 inch squares that I said will go with card sketch G. This last piece I'm leaving as is, and it measures 3 inches by 5 inches. And this is what I will use for the last card sketch, H. So now we'll put all these cards together. And as always, I've got all my card bases prepared, as well as most of my sentiments. So on card sketch A, I'm using a black card base. Actually, I'm using black card base on all 11 cards that I'm making. So 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Okay, 5.5 by 8.5, 5 1/4 by 4 inch white inside. And then on the front, I put a fresh freesia layer that also measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I've got 2 pieces of black. These measure 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So these fit those 4 by 3 pieces cut from my One Sheet Wonder for card sketch A. So I'll put those together. Now, normally when I'm adding ribbon or trim or embellishments, I do that at the very end. I go back through all the cards and do that. But for this particular card, I want to add my ribbon now before I put the pieces together. So I'm just cutting off a length of ribbon a little bit longer than the height of my cardstock. And I need 2 pieces for each. I find I like this ribbon a lot, this faux velvet ribbon. However, I find it a little bit difficult for making bows. So I wanted to find a different way to use it. And I think this is a good alternative. So I'm just going to take that first piece and maybe, an inch from the left side, wrap it around the front of my layers, and fasten the ends on the back where I put that adhesive. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the second piece. I'm going to leave a little bit of space between them. And fasten the ends on the back. I'll do that for my second card as well. Again, I'm approximately an inch from the left side. And I'm not measuring it, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Leave a little space of that pretty DSP showing between the 2 pieces of ribbon. And attach the ends on the back. Now I'm going to adhere these to my card front with dimensionals, as you might have guessed. There was a comment on one of my YouTube videos that I saw yesterday, and I don't remember which video it was, but the person commented, "Oh, that was funny about the way you talked about your dimensionals. You can't run out. You always have to make sure you have a steady supply of dimensionals." And she said she ran out of dimensionals once, completely unaware. And she said she felt like she couldn't even make a card until she got more. So that cracked me up. And I said, "Oh, the horror." I said, "That would be a nightmare for me, running out of dimensionals." Anybody else feel like that? They say it's the little things in life that really are the big things, right? That bring you happiness. Well, these little dimensionals really do bring me happiness in my card making. Okay, so that is the base. And then I use Thankful For You Friend sentiment from the Thankful Garden bundle. And putting it just like that. This is 2 3/4 by 1 1/4 for the white, and 3 inches by 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 3 inches by 1 1/2 for the black. Now, if you're not using this sentiment, of course, you would adjust the size to fit your sentiments, maybe even the shape to fit your sentiments. Or you'd use a punch or whatever, okay? So when, for those of you who get the One Sheet Wonder PDF, either free with a $50 order placed with me in the month of March 2025, or if you purchase it in my PDF store at stampinpiece.com and get it, the card sketches do not include the sentiments. Okay, the card sketches do not include the sentiments simply because the directions for the cards do, but not the card sketches, because that may not be what you're using every time you use that same template or card sketch. So we don't have that part on the template for that reason. Okay. All right, card sketch B. Now this time we're making one card, but it's, oops, where's my sample? There we go. It is a vertical card, same measurements on the card base, the A2 size with the white inside and 4 inches by 5 1/4 inch fresh freesia on the front. I'm using this 5 inch by 2 inch piece and adhering it to a piece of black that measures 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm going to adhere this right down the center of my card front. You can move it around as you wish, but in this example, card sketch B shows this right down the center. And then I'm taking this 2 inch by 1 inch piece of DSP and adding it to basic black that measures 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to adhere this to my card front, just like that, about an inch from the bottom, and maybe 1/4 inch or so from the side. Might be a little more than 1/4 inch. And then I stamped the "With Love" sentiment in black on basic white cardstock, and I punched it with a 1 1/2 inch circle punch and layered it onto a 1 3/4 inch black circle. So there's that card. Okay. Moving on to, whoops, make sure I have all my pieces. Moving on to card sketch C. So now the first two cards completed that upper left corner of my DSP. Now I'm moving to the lower left square of that DSP. These are vertical cards, again, basic black cardstock, white inside, and fresh freesia on the front that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I've got two pieces of black that measure 3 1/4 by 4 inches to frame my 3 inch by 4 inch DSP. Now, most commonly, I would adhere this to the center of this card, but you know, I like to change things up and show you different options. So I'm going to take this all the way over to the left edge of my fresh freesia cardstock, okay? And I'm centering it between top and bottom. Same thing here. Centering it between the top and bottom, and then taking the left edge of my layers to the left edge of the fresh freesia layer. I've stamped "You Make a Difference," again from the Thankful Garden bundle, and this is on a 1/2 inch strip. And I just used my snips to banner cut one end. dimensional back wanted to stay with me. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and add my embellishments. I'm using the starburst sequins that are part of this Lovely Garden suite. And I'm going to use one large on each, and then 2 small sequins on each. So the starburst sequins obviously includes 3 colors, and then there's 2 sizes in each color. All right, so that was card C. The next one, card D, is going to be a horizontal card. And I've already put my fresh freesia on here, but I am going to be stamping onto fresh freesia. So I already adhered mine for the sake of time, but if you don't want to adhere yours ahead of time, that's no problem. What you can do is just kind of lay out your pieces. So this 5" by 2" piece was matted on 5 1/4 by 2 1/4 inch black. And this 1" by 2" has been matted onto 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 inch pieces. And as I told you, you can just lay these out. Getting a little ahead of myself. So you might want to do this even before you put the fresh freesia on your card. I did it this way for the sake of time. And I need my black Memento ink. And what I'm going to do is stamp directly onto that fresh freesia. So if that's going to freak you out, oh no, like I said, just put, just do it before you add the fresh freesia to your card front. And to know where to actually stamp it, you can just lay your pieces out. You don't have to adhere them. You can just lay them out if you like. And then that tells you the space you have for stamping. And then you can kind of center it in that space. Let's stamp this on scrap first. Okay. I'm trusting myself to get this straight. Oh, I did pretty good. That makes me happy. But I wanted to take the time to show you that, okay, about how you can lay out your pieces to know where you want to stamp, rather than just having that piece of fresh freesia and stamping blindly. Use your other pieces as a guide to where you're going to stamp your sentiment. And I'm just going to add 3 sequins. To the top of this tab. So a lot of times when people need a 5 1/4 inch strip or a 5 1/2 inch strip, and they're cutting off just that little bit, we tend to throw that away, or we tend to save it and never really use it. So here today, you're picking up a couple of ways that you can use those small pieces. And Ruth, thank you for that. Woohoo. That's how I feel. Okay, before we go on to the other cards, I want to point something out to you. So remember that where's my other card? Oh, goodness. Is it stuck to something? Here it is. So basically, we have the same pieces, but because we cut them differently, right? We cut that, the first square was like this. We had a 6x6 square, cut it at 4 inches, 3 inches across to get those 2 pieces. And then we had that 2-inch by 6-inch strip. And I cut off 1 inch from the bottom. Essentially, it was the same, only because this is a directional paper, and I wanted the directions to be correct, but cut in a way that you could use the card sketch and the template as is. So that's why. So now do you understand why I cut those 2 squares the same, even though the measurements of the DSP pieces ultimately are the same? Okay, does that make sense? And like I said, when I design my One Sheet Wonder templates and the coordinating card sketches, I keep in mind the fact that you might be using this with a non-directional paper, easy peasy. But if you have a directional paper, this will help you because I've already designed with that in mind, okay? So that you could use it for both directional and non-directional. Okay, moving on to card sketch E. This is where I cut those 5 3/4 inch strips, and I said I wanted to keep them in the same order that I cut them so they fit together like a picture puzzle. You see that? And then I also have that 3 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch strip. So I'm not starting with a fresh freesia layer like I did on the other cards. And for this, I highly suggest that you use your multi-purpose glue. I also suggest that you start by adhering the left strip first and the right strip second. And those left and right strips should match up at the top and bottom of your card as well as the outside edge. So again, I'm matching this up to the top and bottom of my card base, as well as that outside edge, that right edge there. And sometimes I just tap it down like that to make sure I've got it straight. And now I'm ready to add the other 3. And what I like to do here is just kind of lay them out and take a look at what I need my spacing to be so it's kind of even, okay? And because I'm using multi-purpose glue, it'll be easy for me to move these around, slide them around in place to get that even spacing if I need to. And again, I like to work from the outside in. So my last strip that I adhere is the center one. I'm using enough, trying not to overuse that glue, but using enough that it does allow me the time to slide pieces around if I need to. It looks like I need to just a bit right there and a bit here. And see how easy that is? So again, you start with the left strip, then the right strip, okay? And then, correct, Doris, there's no cardstock showing around those pieces once I put them on my card front. Okay, so left, right, and then again, step in, left, right, and do the center one last. Okay, and you should not have to scoot these around once you have these in place. It's only these three that you might have to slide over a bit if necessary. So here's my 3 3/4 inch strip by 1/2 inch, and I'm adding it to black that measures 4 inches by 3/4 inch, and then onto fresh freesia, which measures 4 1/4 by 1 inch. Okay. I've already stamped and punched my sentiments, and I'm going to kind of use that as my guide to know where to place this. I don't want to put my strips too low if I want to center my circles on top of it. So I'm going to have to go up a little higher. Yep, that looks good. Whoops. And let's talk about the sentiment for a moment. With love and thanks. This is actually 2 different stamps. Okay, so you know, for one of those earlier cards, I just stamped with love and punched it with a circle. This I wanted with love and thanks, so I stamped the with love in fresh freesia on basic white, and then and thanks in the black underneath it. And it's easy to do because this is a photopolymer set, so you can see through. So as far as your spacing and lining that up. And then I punched. So super easy to do. And I'm going to finish this off with just 2 of the large fresh freesia starburst sequins. I'll scoot that over just a bit. Let me hold these up closer, and then you'll see why they're called starburst sequins. Can you see the pattern on there? Okay, see the starburst indented into or designed right into the sequins. Okay, that was card sketch E. Moving on to F. This is another card where I chose not to add a fresh freesia layer on the front. But I am taking this 2 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of DSP, adding it to the basic black card base. And then I've got this piece, 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. I'm simply going to take my snips and cut it in half at an angle. Then I'm going to glue, oops, I think I just dropped it down in my little holder here. It's stuck to my finger and it's right here, I can see it. Ah, come on. There. Okay, went to grab my silicone mat and that was stuck to my finger and dropped right down in that bin I have sitting there. So what you want to do is just adhere one to the other. And to do this, I like to just add a tiny bit of multi-purpose glue that allows me to move these 2 pieces around, slide them around until I get the look of the banner I want. You know, I can space these out farther or closer, whatever. Okay, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to adhere these to the back of my circle. Let me put some here too. And what I like to do is leave the banner in place. And then I'm going to lay my sentiment, my layered circles right onto that, and it picks it up. Okay, easy peasy. Joyce, I agree. This would make a great set of cards to give as a gift. Oh, and how kind you are to make some for your neighbor. Joyce, you truly are very generous with all your handmade cards. And that is very inspiring. Okay, and I'm going to just give this one sequence right about there. Okay, you could add more or less if you like. More or none at all, I should say, right? All right, we are down to making 3 more cards now. So far we've made 8 from this one sheet wonder. No, Joyce, thank you for making a difference with your craft. And I know so many people watching do the same, and that really warms my heart. It really does. It doesn't do us any good to just make cards and hang on to them. It's the sending and giving them that makes the true difference in the meaning why we do what we do. So each of these 3-inch squares, I'm adding to a piece of basic black that measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 inches. I'm then going to use these strips, and these strips won't line up with these because they were cut from a different section of the one sheet wonder, right? These 2 pieces were cut from the 3x6 piece, and then these were cut from this piece. So don't expect them to match up. They won't, which is kind of unusual for what we usually do. But I'm going to leave a little space here between this strip and the square. And I think you're really going to like how it turns out. And you know me, I have to use every single bit of the DSP sheet. Can't go leaving a stray strip or tiny piece. I have to use it all. Okay. Now, before I go on, and I know some people like this and some people don't, so you do you. But every once in a while, I do like to use some torn paper. So I'm just going to slowly and carefully tear off the bottom edge, and I tear it towards me because this is the part I'm using and I want to see those fibers. Doris, thank you too for all the cards you do for the nursing homes and VA. I do remember that you did that. And then I will adhere these to my card front. And if you're not one for tearing, or you're not sure about it, or maybe it makes you a little uncomfortable because it's outside of your comfort zone, just give it a try. Just give it a try. You might decide you love it. And if you don't, that's okay. You've tried it. That's all I ask. Just give it a try. because I do like to show you different layouts, different techniques, that kind of thing. And then I did stamp the You Make a Difference sentiment, again from the Thankful Garden bundle stamp set. And this is on a 4" by 1/2" strip. And again, whatever sentiment you're using, you'll want to cut your cardstock to accommodate that sentiment if you're using something different. And I'm going to go right across that open space between the two pieces of DSP. Finish it off with a couple of Starburst sequins. This time I'm going to use the white. A couple of large white sequins, one on each side of the sentiment. And I love how easy it is to pick up my embellishments and place them exactly where I want them using my Take Your Pick tool. If you don't have it, it's one I highly, highly recommend. Okay. And one more card to make it 11 cards for this One Sheet Wonder. So vertical card, same basic black card base, white inside, 4" by 5 1/4 for fresh freesia on the front. And the DSP that has been cut from the One Sheet Wonder is 3" by 5". So I'm adhering it, and this is a little different. I'm adhering this to a piece that's 3/4 inch by 5". So I've only got the black showing on the left and right side of the DSP. Again, just a little change up, okay? Julianne, thank you so much for that comment. I'm so glad you found me and that you are enjoying this One Sheet Wonder demonstration. And yes, people have been following me for a while and they're like, oh yeah, there goes Mary, but she always uses every bit of the DSP. That is always my goal when I'm designing the One Sheet Wonder and the card sketches. This time I'm going to put my sentiment at the top. Thankful for You, Friend, again, is from the Lovely Garden Suite, or the Thankful Garden Bundle stamp set. And I've stamped it in black on fresh freesia that measures 4" by 1". Okay, 4" by 1". And I will finish this off again with some white dimensionals. I'm going to use one large, not dimensionals. Did I say dimensionals? I think I did. White Starburst sequins. See how crazy I am for dimensionals? I say that word when I don't even need to or not supposed to. Okay, so let's bring in the cards again. And I'm kind of laying them out from the same squares. So, right? Remember, each time I cut a section of the One Sheet Wonder, I actually was starting with a 6x6 square. So that's how I'm laying these out. Okay, so you can see that way. So a very quick and easy guide to making 11 cards. And these 11 cards include 8 different layouts. If you are not familiar, I do a new 12 by 12 one-sheet wonder on the first Thursday of each month. And I have given you all of the information, all of the dimensions, products used, etc., and showed you how to cut the DSP in this video. Now, if you're like me and like a copy or a download that you can use for future reference, there are 2 ways that you can get the PDF tutorial. And this PDF tutorial will include supply list, color photos for each card, the One Sheet Wonder template. My daughter does a great job of making the templates, very easy to read, with instructions how to cut that template. So you're cutting in the correct order. And then all of the instructions, dimensions for all of the cards. So you can get it free with a $50 order, Stampin' Up! Order from me in the month of March 2025, or you can purchase it in my PDF store, which is on my blog, stampinpiece.com. You just go to shop, and at the bottom of the drop-down menu, you'll see PDF tutorials, okay? Somebody who was here from the very beginning, tell me, because I realized a little late that where I was cutting was outside of the viewing screen. So tell me, was that difficult? Because I'm thinking if it was, I should maybe just recut a sheet now to show you. And then I can make up the cards later. Who was on at the beginning that could tell me? Vesta, I think you were. Because I'm happy to show you the cutting of the template, the One Sheet Wonder template one more time. I'll just have to use a different paper. Okay, that was about halfway through though. So at the beginning I was okay. I just don't want any, the most important part is cutting the DSP. So I just want to make sure. Let me just cut one just to be sure. And I can make up the cards later. I will say though, it won't be the same design because I've been working this pack of paper a lot. And I use one sheet for the samples, and then I use the second sheet of the same for the demonstration. But I'm going to cut this sheet, 12 by 12. I just want to be sure. I will feel bad if there's something that I cut that was not in the viewing screen. Because you know, these One Sheet Wonders are my pride and joy. They're like my babies. I hate to say it, but they are. I spent so much time creating these, and I want you to get the full effect. So again, I'm going to cut with this. I'll make up the cards at a later time and then show you those. So I'm starting with 12 by 12, cutting at 6 inches, right down in half. I'm going to turn and cut in half again. So now I have 2 6-inch squares. The top one, I'm back in the original position, and you can see this is a directional paper. And again, I design my templates and coordinating card sketches to work with both directional and non-directional papers. So I'm going to cut at 4 inches, turn that 4 by 6 piece to the horizontal position and cut in half at 3 inches. Okay. This piece is 2 by 6. I'm going to cut it at 5 inches or cut off 1 inch from the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going on to that second square, second 6x6 square. This time I'm turning once and I'm going to cut at 4 inches. And then each of these I'm turning back to the original position, or in this case, the horizontal position. Cutting in half at 3 inches. And then this piece at 5 inches, so I'm end up cutting off 1 inch from the right side. Okay. On this one, now this is that second half of the DSP from when I cut it right down the center. Again, I'm going to turn it to the horizontal position and cut at 6 inches. And then, so this would be that top square. Before I, excuse me, move this back to the original position, I do want to cut off a 1/2 inch here. And then turning this 6 by 5.5 inch piece to the horizontal position, I'm going to cut at 3/4 inch increments 5 times. So I get 5 strips. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have 5 3/4 inch by 5.5 inch strips, and then 1 that measures 2 1/4 by 5.5. And for each of these, I've got that 1/2 inch that I cut off, right? I'm going to cut at 3 3/4 of an inch. So 3 3/4 by 1/2 inch will be used with this set of 5 strips. I'm going to pick them up so that I can leave them in the position I cut them. And then that other 1/2 inch strip will be used with this piece. And then the final square, I'm going to cut at 3 inches, turn the first piece to the horizontal position, cut at 3 inches again for my 2 3-inch squares. I'm going to take this 3 inch by 6 inch piece and put it in the horizontal position and cut a 1/2 inch off the bottom twice. Okay, 1/2 inch off the bottom twice. And each of these 3 inch by 1/2 inch strips get used with one of those 3 by 3 squares. And then the final piece is 3 inches by 5. Okay. Whew. So there you go. I just wanted to cut another sheet using that One Sheet Wonder template to be sure everybody got the full full demonstration of that and nothing was missed if I got out of the viewing screen at the beginning. Okay, who would like to maybe receive one of the One Sheet Wonder cards I made today? If you would like to have your name put into the drawing to, it's funny how so many of you waited for that. Even if you caught the beginning where I did the cutting demonstration, you're waiting for that code word, aren't you? How about if we do, let's do a phrase this time. You make a difference. Okay, you make a difference. Type that in the comments now. And when you do that, I will put your name into the drawing to receive one of these cards. I will choose 3 winners. Ruth, thank you. I know Ruth is on my team, and Ruth gets the advantage. When you're on my team, you get my PDF tutorials free. And Ruth Zinsser is somebody that uses a lot of those, and she especially likes the one sheet wonders. And if I forget to post it on our team Facebook group, she's the one that reminds me that I missed posting it, and I get it on right away. But she has found that she really likes following the templates and the card sketches. And Andrea does a great job. I'm just going to show you real quickly. This is the kind of thing she does. Now there would be another sheet because we did 8 card sketches, but she's got it down to a science. And that mint green color that she uses always represents the DSP. And then she uses shades of gray for the cardstock pieces. So she does a great job for me. Thank goodness, because I have that love-hate relationship with technology, and it would take me probably 5 times as long to make those as she does. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. What's that? Oh, Kathy Jordan, your senior class. Great. Kathy Jordan is also on my team, and she volunteers her card making for lots of different groups. So anytime you send a card or make a card with somebody or give cards, remember that you are spreading joy. You are spreading joy, you're spreading happiness, you're spreading kindness and caring. And gosh, our world needs more and more and more of that. So thank you all for using your craft to make a difference. Know that it is very much appreciated. Okay? All right, it's Thursday. I'll tell you, have a great weekend. And then I was going to say I'll see you next week, but I won't see you next week. I have 3 demonstrator friends coming from Ontario, Canada on Sunday, and they'll be at my house for 3 days, and then we will all travel to Raleigh, South Carolina together for the Stampin' Up! Onstage event for demonstrators. In other words, a convention for demonstrators. So I'm really excited about that. I have a lot of work I'm trying to get done before then. Obviously, because I'm gone, I will not be doing Facebook Lives next week. So that would be, let's see, March 11th and 13th. But please check in, because I've got some things I'm working on, so I can at least send out do some posts, or a blog post or a Facebook post, something like that, to keep us all thinking of each other and give you some card making inspiration while I'm gone. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Have a great Thursday and enjoy your weekend, and happy stamping.